Okay, hi everybody. This is my August 1st blog. I have a lot of things like written down, and not a lot of things, but just kind of like a guide on some things that I wanted to touch base on. It's early morning and the 1st of August, so with that being said, I'm trying to talk a little softer because I don't want to wake other people up in the home that I'm in. And then I have this crazy pug, like, right there, who's constantly needing my attention, who is absolutely adores me. And thank you, God, because he gives me so much love. I really love that dog, but he needs a nap or to go to sleep. So, anyways, hopefully distraction free, I can continue with this video. I'm scared because I don't want it to turn into something really long, but there's just some things that I feel like I want to get off my chest, and I just kind of like wrote out an outline of like what I wanted to talk about. And really, once again, like I don't know who all is gonna see this. I don't have like some creepy fan base out there, not creepy, but like I don't have some sort of fan base out there that I'm trying to particularly impress or give a time frame on. Meanwhile, I have this deep conditioning going on for my curly hair, so look how tamed it is. I'm really excited about it. Thank you, Garnier Fructis, if I even said that correctly. So anyways, I feel like I'm going to start this out with some heavier topics and then kind of like hopefully end it on some like more positive things. But initially, August 1st is just a really shitty day. In general, it will always be a shitty day for me for probably the rest of my life. I've cried about it a few times already today, and there's a picture that sits right here next to my computer, and it's of my grandpa. And he passed away last August 1st. It was the only time in my life where I've seen my grandmother weep how she wept. It was the only time that I've seen the male uncles that I have just literally bawl their eyes out. And I'm not gonna try. I mean, I'm trying purposely in this whole blogging thing that or vlogging to be more vulnerable. So like in any other given situation, I might not be so amped to talk about these things. But I mean, literally, if I'm just talking to myself in a video to like document how I am and where I am in my life, and to see that throughout I mean, so be it. But yeah, doctor came in. He was in the hospital. He had a heart attack or went into cardiac arrest, which I think is like the same thing, but nonetheless, one of those two things that happened 2 days ago last year, so like the 30th or the 29th or something like that. I remember my mom came home and she told me that my grandpa had went into cardiac arrest and he had a heart attack, and that his heart stopped beating for 5 to 10 minutes. Like it just would not, his heart wasn't beating at all. By the time they got to the hospital, they put him into a inducive coma. Like, forgive me for not knowing the verbiage, but they put him into some type of hypodermic coma. There we go. Where they had to like freeze his body so that his blood vessels would kind of like stay so they wouldn't die off, so he would have enough to like run in his system, or at least salvage as what they can. And so they went in and had a hypodermic coma, and then they started the warm-up process for like a day and a half to see if he would get better. And he was also put on life support with a huge oxygen oxygen tube. Sorry, just forgive me because this is already a really hard topic to talk about that I'm kind of getting distracted on words. But nonetheless, so Grandpa had a tube down his throat and he looked really pale, and he was really like glossy looking, like he looked like, what is the word I'm looking for? Just really pale but clammy. There we go. And I remember me and my cousin Janae it was like we took turns on wiping Grandpa's head off or wiping down his, you know, um, because he was perspiring. You know, he went from literally being frozen to de-thawing and, you know, trying to get his heart to beat itself again. And so he was just really clammy. And I want to kind of back up for a second and say that July 1st is my grandmother's birthday, his wife. And we all went out to a pizza restaurant that everybody loves out where they live. And I remember I was going through a really hard time in my life. I was in a relapse, not only medically, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and actually like using drugs. Like I was in a relapse all 100%. But anyways, prior to this, so for some reason we had my grandma's birthday party at a pizza joint that was a favorite of hers. I remember I wasn't even really gonna go that day. But the reason why I just said about the relapse thing is because I had started making some really shitty decisions, for lack of a better term, in my life, and so I felt very like detached from my family, which I not only felt detached from them, but I could feel that they wanted to be detached from me. So I remember my grandpa was at the very head of the table, like he is, and my grandma was towards the middle of the table. And if anybody knows me, I have a humongous family, so like we're all spread out this entire restaurant, and my grandpa was like way over here to the left at the front of the table, and I don't know what happened in my spirit, but I could tell you I sensed that I felt like I sat next to him initially because I know that my grandpa wouldn't judge me. I could do no wrong in his eyes. And anyways, so I felt safe next to him, and something in my heart told me that that might be like the last time I would get to talk to him. But as we were talking, we started talking, and I pulled up a chair. I could have sat in a different place because there was still some people towards the end of the tables that didn't necessarily hate to be around me, especially some of my cousins because they love me regardless. More like my aunts and uncles and the older adults in my family were disapproving of me, which they have rights to, but nonetheless it was awkward. So, but I just chose to sit next to my grandpa because he's like my heart and my rock. So I sit next to grandpa, and I mean, usually like I have really, really deep, in-depth conversations with my grandma. Not that I don't with my grandpa, but he usually for the last several years. I mean, because Grandpa always tells stories and he's always making sure I'm doing okay and working and, you know, making something out of my life and he was a huge support of my life. But not sure where I was going with that, but, I don't know, I was just, aside from all the relapse stuff, I was okay. Anyway, I sat next to Grandpa and we just started talking because I felt physically disconnected from everybody else in my family at that place at that day. And I remember I had to work, so I wasn't even gonna go to grandma's birthday, but because she was like, I don't know, turning like 86, maybe I think it was 86, yeah. I was like, of course I need to make it, even if I have to leave early because she's 86. Like this could be my last birthday with grandma. So I went there and I ended up, like I said, not to repeat myself, but I ended up sitting next to grandpa and I just kept his attention like the whole time. Um, like it was like me and grandpa were sitting right here and then like everybody else was that way. Like everybody else. I could have talked to my aunts, I could have talked to my cousins, I could have done a whole bunch of other stuff, but I remember just talking to him and focusing in on him. And so, anyways, with that being said, we talked about so much, so much. I mean, I can still remember the conversation now, and I don't think it's necessary to repeat, but nonetheless, we talked about a lot. And so, um, I left that day feeling like that might be the last time I ever talked to him. I remember he hugged me. He said he loved me and that he was proud of me. And he said, take care of yourself. And that was the last physical conversation I ever had with my grandfather. Yeah, so anyways, I left satisfied that day though, that I thought that if anything ever happened to Grandpa, not knowing that this was going to happen literally a month to the date later, but something in here, whether it be my intuition that's crazy, psycho, right, or what, but something inside here told me that that was going to be my last conversation with him, and I had peace about that. I gave him my whole attention. I remember I rubbed his back, I was scratching his back. I was like rubbing him, giving him a massage, because my family just doesn't go out to eat and like pieces out. Like for some reason, we take over a restaurant and we're there for hours. So like I had a couple hours of conversation with my grandpa and I rubbed his back and I was like rubbing some muscles and I even remember asking him like, hey grandpa, how are you doing? And he just looked at me with the weirdest eyes and he just said, I'm ready to go. I said, what do you mean you're ready to go? He just said, I'm tired. I said, tired? He said, yeah, I'm just tired. I'm getting old. Nana's, I'm getting old and I'm tired. So this is so uncomfortable to even be talking about, but beyond what he said right there, maybe too that's another reason why I thought maybe that's those weird things you see in movies where you have those conversations with people and then boom they pass away. Well, literally like that was my last conversation, cognitively my last conversation with my grandpa. And he hugged me. He told me he loved me. He told me how proud he was of me. And even though I was fucking up in all these other places in my life, I was doing a few things right. And I told him about those things. And he was proud of me for those things. And he was always proud of me. I was the first granddaughter. And so I'll always have that like a little special like haha, like I'm the first granddaughter, excuse me. And so anyways, I remember I even looked back at him before we left the restaurant and after I hugged him and kissed him and because he was slow to get up, I remember, I looked back at him and I said, I love you one more time. And he said, I love you too. And so fast forward, that was the last conversation I had with him. And then fast forward to August 1st of 2017, excuse me. And I got really mad because we were all at the hospital and Grandpa wasn't coming out of this coma like we wanted him to. He was de-thawing, so to speak, which sounds really morbid and weird, but nonetheless, he wasn't coming out of it. And, my grandpa's always been 10 foot tall and bulletproof to me. Like, Grandpa, I gotta wake up. Like, ting, ting, like, he had been in the hospital a couple times before for weird things that, like what had happened to him at that point in time. So I'm thinking Grandpa's gonna pull out of it just like he did those other couple times. Well, he just wasn't coming out of it. He was on life support. He had a tube down his whole throat. Like, he couldn't even, like, I mean, he looked like him, but he looked like bloated. Like there was a lot of water and this huge machine down his throat. And it was just crazy. And like half of him was cold. And I remember I didn't care who was around me, like, because I just didn't give a shit. That's my grandpa. So I went up to him and I sat on the bed in the hospital and I held his hand. And I continued to hold his hand. And I continued to hold his hand. And I continued and I continued and I continued to hold his hand. And I would rub it. And I know because I'm a psychic and because I'm a medium, I know that my grandpa knows that I was there with him. There's no doubt in my mind that he knows that. What's the craziest part is that me and my cousin have been going back and forth, swatching off his head and, patting off the sweat and stuff like that. And everybody piled into the room with us, and the doctor came in and basically said that he's not going to, like, he's just not going to come out of this. If we wanted to continue to wait 30 more days, 3 years of life support, we can, but the probability is not good. His heart stopped for too long to be recoverable. Like, even if he did come back, he'd be in a vegetated state. So, I remember my grandma made the executive decision to pull the plug, for lack of a better term. And the doctor said, okay, well, now that we know that that's what you want, then we'll get that set up and get going. And, the rest of my family is like, okay, well, are you going to tell us when it happens? Like, let us all be here for that. And like, so I went to go smoke a cigarette because they were like not going to do it right away. And my grandma, even though I love her to death, she pissed me off. She didn't tell anybody that she told them to take out the tube. So I get a text like, hey, Grandpa, they pulled out his, I'm from my cousin, they pulled out his tube. So I'm like running back up to the room. I mean, like as fast as I fucking can. And everybody is in there. And the doctor's in there, chaplain's in there, or whatever the priests are called. And I sat on his side of his bed, of his hospital bed. And Janae was patting his head again, and I said, it's okay, Grandpa, I love you, and I'm here. And then Janae said, Grandpa, it's okay, we're all here, and it's okay if you're all ready to go. And just like out of a movie, dude, out of a fucking movie, I've never seen shit like this in my life, except for in a movie. It was like he was dead inside before this moment, and I'm holding his hand and I'm rubbing it, and I'm looking at him, and I'm just, I know my grandpa knows that I'm holding his hand, even though cognitively to everyone else, he doesn't look like it. And Janae pats his head down, and his eyes were like over to this way, like facing away from everybody. And I was holding his hand, and by the way, after they pulled out the plug, this is when he had the opportunity to start breathing on his own. Well, he was like breathing on his own because there was just like this pumping action thing going on that happens when you come out of a tube like that. Like, it's weird. I don't know the medical terminology, and I don't plan to like pretend I know it, but anyways, nonetheless, we're all watching him taking, these breaths, and inside of us all, I'm assuming we're thinking, please, Grandpa, please just start breathing okay. We're gonna be like, like that was a close one. But it wasn't. And like I said, fast forward, sometimes I can be a talker, but I don't give a fuck. This is my story. And if you're done hearing about it, then click exit. I don't care. So I, like out of a movie, I was rubbing his hand, and my cousin was taking a damp rag and patting it down on his forehead. And she said, Grandpa, it's okay to go. We're all here. And we're all here. And we love you. And it's okay to go. And like, I bullshit you not. I saw his eyes roll from the other way to this way. And he looked over at me, and he looked over at Janae, and he took his last breath. Like, and like I literally saw the life go out of my grandpa. That is some crazy shit. I sit here and I think about it, and still feels very surreal. Like, what? I always told my closest friends, who are no longer my closest friends at all. In fact, these are people that I don't even talk to anymore, because, like, no matter how much, I mean, I've tried making amends, but I can't make a person talk to me, and I'm certainly not going to go where I'm, not celebrated. I don't want to be tolerated. I want to be celebrated. But nonetheless, I told certain people in my life that if I ever called you and I told you that my grandpa or my grandma passed away, to fucking take care of my ass, because I might be incapable of saying that I'm hurting, that I'm in pain, and that I just lost somebody so amazing. And I did. I watched. I literally just I like the craziest shit. I watched this movie. Anyways, and so it's been a year. It's been a year to that day. And you know, it doesn't even feel like a year. I I've been through a lot of trauma. I've been through a lot of losses. Too many fucking funerals for a person going on 30. Like, to count. But that one hit home the hardest. I mean, there's been a lot actually that's hit pretty close to home, but not like him. He has been my rock. He's been my teacher. He's been my best friend. He's been my storybook. He's been my legend. He's been the patriarch of our family. And I just, you just ever like see those memes on Facebook or something where like, you know, if you had the opportunity to like go back in time and talk to somebody, like who would it be? It would be him. I would just want him to poke at me one more time, you know, or tell me a story that goes on for 4 fucking hours. Or I remember when I was younger, he was always in the garage like welding shit, and like I didn't like he owned his own gas station business, and they lived in the city, and like my grandpa looks. I mean, I don't know, man. It's been a year, and it's been heavily weighing on my heart for the last 48 hours, because the last 48 hours of this time last year were probably some of the hardest first 48 hours of my life that I've had. And so I miss him a lot. You know, and I'm emotional. I've been very emotional lately. I'm dealing with a lot of grief, a lot of trauma, a lot of PTSD. I have severe anxiety. And so when I talk about stuff like this, it just kind of like adds to it. But I think it's my right to, you know? Like, fuck you. I'm gonna feel how I feel. And right now, I feel sad. And it's okay to feel sad. But only gangsters cry in the shower. I make that joke, you know? But everybody has their 5 minutes, and you have to pick yourself up and keep going. So here was probably my 20 minutes, but nonetheless, that was just like a backstory. My grandpa deserves more than 5 minutes. He was a wonderful man. And sometimes I guess his siblings or his children didn't think so, but I was a grandchild, so I got the best of the world. They probably didn't, but I'm sure it didn't deter any of them from loving him. Excuse me. So anyways, so I miss him very much. He sits very close to, this is, I think, a terrible picture of him, but my mother has decided to put his picture next to where we keep their computer. And so I see him every day, and I look at him and I say, "Hi, Grandpa, I love you." And I know that he sees me. His favorite bird is a hummingbird. And after he passed away, for about like a week or 2, 3 weeks straight, every day in between 2 and 3 o'clock during the day. I don't know why, and I don't know how I remember it, but every single day in between 2 and 3 o'clock during the day, there would be like this fluttering thing fly at my head. It was so crazy, and then it would like fly off so quickly that I'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" You know, like it's like a bee trying to attack you. And you're like, "Oh, what's going on?" But like only like it looked like a bat, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Anyway, so I'm sorry, I keep wiping my nose. I should have got tissues, but I don't know where they are, and here I am. So, anyways. So like by like the fifth fucking time that this happens, I'm like, what is that? And then the thing stops close enough and long enough in front of my face that I can see it's a hummingbird. And in that moment, I knew that every fucking day that was Grandpa coming to say hi. And people want to think that God's not real, or the universe isn't real, or the miracles, like, or things beyond here aren't real. Like, that's fine. That's not the life I live, and that's not the understanding that I have. My fucking grandpa's a badass. He fucking is a hummingbird. He has also been in forms of white butterflies and when I find pennies and dimes places. I mean, he really just was a wonderful man, and I miss him terribly. I really do. And there's sometimes that I've made some of the more shittier decisions in my life, and I just knew that if I went over to Grandpa's house, he wouldn't give a fuck. He would just be happy I was there sitting with him. And I think everybody has that natural state of, I could have spent more time with him. Do you see Nux over here? By the way, he's woken up. Sometimes he freaks me out because when I start talking about Grandpa, he starts like looking around, and it's weird because then I think, okay, Grandpa, like you can stop being weird and freaking my dog out. But anyway, that's a Grandpa story, and I need to get off the emotional boat on that one. Um, I have a lot I feel like I had to talk about. I kind of wrote things down, but I mean, it is what it is. Um, I love him and I miss him, and he will forever be in my heart. And I know that he loves me and visits me all the time. He visits me in my dreams. I mean, just it's real. So that's that. Kind of like a weird transition, but today I googled two definitions. One, the definition of verbal abuse, and two, the definition of, um, I guess, mental abuse, like psychological abuse is what it said. Because being around my mother and in the current situation I am, sometimes the shit she says, if not all the time, and I mean all the fucking time, she, she's just verbally and psychologically abusive. And I googled some definitions for us here, and I really appreciate how they put everything because it really made me understand that not only is she verbally and mentally abusive, like, I'm not crazy, you know? You don't have to be fucking beating me over the head with a bat to abuse me. Um, I think he's chewing on something, sorry. But so the definition, according to Google, of what verbal abuse is when a person forcefully criticizes, insults, or denounces someone else, characterized by underlying anger or hostility and/or hostility. It is a destructive form of the communication intended to harm the person at hand. That's verbal abuse. One more time. Are you ready? Verbal abuse is when a person first forcefully criticizes, insults, or denounces someone else, characterized by underlying anger and hostility. It is a destructive form of communication intended to harm the person or persons at hand. Now, I went over here and I went to what is psychological abuse. Psychological abuse is a form of abuse characterized by a person subjecting or exposing another person to behavior to let me just start over. The fucking music came back on weird and I'm distracted. So psychological abuse is a form of abuse characterized by a person subjecting or exposing another person to behavior that may result in psychological trauma, including anxiety, chronic depression, or post-traumatic stress disorder. Check, check, and check. I, like, diagnostically on paper have written down anxiety, chronic depression, and I have PTSD. Now, looking into this definition, I am technically being exposed by her, by like psychologically. She traumatizes me. If I were to tell this shit to her, to her face, or to her best friends, they'd think I was just being some stupid dramatic bitch, which is also fucked up because I don't tell you, like it's not up to you to decide if my feelings are right or wrong. It's just not. It's not up to me to decide if your feelings are hurt because I'm not you, man. And the sooner the rest of the world can get on that page, the better. So anyways, with that being said, no one's in the right to tell me that my mother is not verbally and psychologically abusive because she is. And I feel stuck as a motherfucker in this fucking place with her. I literally am at the point where if I'm not working, I'm sleeping to avoid her. And when she's up, I'm sleeping. And when she's sleeping, I'm up. Which is a lot of times why I end up fucking vlogging at 4 o'clock in the morning because she's not around. Because I can't take it. Because every fucking day I try to get out of the bed because I already struggle. You know, I don't know if I mentioned it in my other vlog, but like I struggle severely with mental illness. I'm bipolar and I have severe anxiety, which comes from a lot of PTSD. A lot of it stems from my mother, but a lot of it stems from other things too. She's not the only person to kick into that role. And so with that being said, yeah, she doesn't make it any better. So it's just one of those things that I'm trying to just get through right now. Again, this is my vlog, right? My little diary thing that I'm talking into. Like, I feel like because I just talked so long about my grandpa, I feel like I should save the conversation about my mom for another day. But I literally just don't know how to function around her right now. Like, the best I can do is just ignore her. And then when I ignore her, I get shit for ignoring her. Like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Like, she just is a walking form of Satan. The other night, speaking of, I literally, sometimes actually, most of the time, I do really good at holding my tongue. And the other fucking night, I said something about how, like, I'm like, you are the fucking spawn of Satan. And she lost her shit. I swear to God, I wish I could have took a picture of that woman's face. The devil was in her eyes. She was like, get the fuck away from me. After I said that she was like the spawn of Satan, she reacts that way. And I was like, okay, case in point, But I'm fucked up. Okay. This is also the woman that while I was incarcerated stole my 401k and cashed the check out because she thought she was entitled to the money because I'm a shitty person. Literally, that is what she told me. She cashed in my 401k. She told me that, and then she told me that she forged my signature and she cashed it in. So there goes my retirement. So those 4.5 years that I was working fucking and making bank, putting away money into my 401 fucking K, whether I fucking only had a couple thousand like I did or not, I got penalized federally that I'm gonna have to pay for this year, and she took all of my money. But I'm the fucked up one. I'm a fucking drug addict. I get it. I'm a junkie. But I have really, really great junkie friends these days. We don't use it anymore. We really work a 12-step program and we are actually really amazing, resourceful, and beautiful people. And unfortunately, there's people like my mother who fucking is an alcoholic, abusive bitch and is a thief and a liar. And she likes to tell me that I'm a thief and a liar and how much I'm fucked up. And like, I just can't take it some days. Like today and yesterday, I just have decided I'm just fucking done. And I pray to God that God helps me be done and to push me where the fuck I need to be pushed. And if I have to work my ass off to get better into someplace else, like, I don't know. I don't know what I gotta do, but I gotta do something because I can't do this anymore. I don't have a car. I got in like 5 car accidents in a matter of like, I don't know, like 6 to 9 months of each other. That's a lot of PTSD right there. But just really, it's just, sometimes it's just so difficult. And I'm not here to fucking bitch about like, my life's bad. Like, no, reality is I'm not behind bars. So like, I have freedom and I would choose that freedom with this kind of bullshit over not having freedom at all. Quite frankly, I like doing shit when I like to do shit. And I like going outside. I like smoking cigarettes. I like experiencing nature. I like to laugh. I like to be around positive, forward moving, thinking people. And people behind bars aren't like that at all. Last time I was incarcerated, they like I'm sorry, not the last time, but right before I got released from incarceration, the dude across from me was screaming about how he needed to take a shower to wipe the blood off of his body. I'm not really quite sure what happened with him, but I can guarantee you he either has attempted murder charge with him or a murder charge, because normally the people that came in there screaming there and they're like that was because had literally just like hacked someone to death. I'm not kidding or making that up. Welcome to St. Louis, the #1 capital murder of the year per capita. We have the most murders and rapes, so way to go, St. Louis. Um, yeah, so I'm sure freedom, right? Yeah. But I'm dealing with a really abusive mother, and I can't take it anymore most days. Um, I'm dealing with a lot of grief. Like I just mentioned, I mean, like I probably really needed to get all that shit off my chest with my grandpa, so that might just be my token for the evening. Um, but nonetheless, I feel like um, this vlog is going to take me a lot of places. Again, whether it's just me talking about me, or and I'm the only one that ever sees it, or other people find it and they're like, dude, I mean, like I've been waiting to find someone I can relate to like you, and then we're fine. Um, I know that people have stole my phrase of my tribe, my tribe. People are like, my clique, my girls, my circle, my this and my that. I am Native American. Don't let this fucking bullshit ass blonde shit that I tried fool you. I have really dark tan skin and like dark brown hair, and I went to sun dances and shit when I was little, and like I still do sweat lodges. I still very much practice Native American shit. I'm also African American, which I found out. So there is a little black in me for everybody that already thought that. But anyways, getting off topic here. I need to change my tribe, and I have been really going through a lot of grief and just a lot of grief. There are some things that I just can't undo. And it makes me mad though, because there's a lot of things that people have done to me or around me or about people around me that I have just been like, you know what? Everybody loves you, or everybody fucks up, but everybody also deserves love too. So, story of my fucking life, I fucking fuck up for once. God forbid I fuck some shit up, and I am the worst person in the world, and no one wants to ever engage with any type of topic with me ever. And God forbid they hung out with me or got found in close quarters with me. And like God, I pray for those people. I pray that sometimes I pray that karma just really comes and bites them in the ass, but I know that karma's a bitch and she's real and she'll get them regardless. But like, I also pray that some of these really hateful people or judgmental people, like, get what they deserve. They're going to get what they deserve because, like, they just don't understand. Like, could you imagine being put in my shoes, feeling alienated and isolated from, like, outside of yourself because this person told Billy Joe, who told Sally Sue, who told Mike that Nick over here did something to Natalie and she blew up the world. Like, I don't fucking know. But people are petty. Even in, like, going into my 30s, people are still that petty. And, like, or I'm talking, like, real intimate personal relationships with people. Not literally just relationships, but platonic ones as well. Fucking never leaving these people aside, saying, dude, no matter what, like, fucking got you. I fight with you like family, but I ride with you like family. And then you fucking do something and out you go, man. What is that shit? Obviously, people don't know what the fuck loyalty means. But that's a whole nother topic for another night. But I'm struggling with that a lot. The best way I know how to keep pushing through all that bullshit is keep talking about it. I need to keep going to meetings. I'm working on my fucking step. I'm doing shit like this, like a vlog, and like getting through shit that like I just need to do. Like I'm not gonna hide behind my pain anymore. Pain shared is painless, and I don't give a fuck what you think. Like, seriously, I feel like I'm only as good as my 5 best friends. And quite honestly, the people that I have around me, my tribe, and I will kill the people. Excuse me, I won't say that on camera. I will fuck people up if they keep saying this. I need my change my tribe, or I'm about my tribe bullshit. Well, fuck you. That's what I say. Glad to know I'm such a trendsetter, but that was my thing way before it was like anybody else's thing. So but I'm working on changing my tribe because fucking tribe I had before, it was good while it lasted, put it that way. But when it came down to Natalie's ass was falling off, I fucking got to like really see and be shown whose true colors had my ass, because I fucking had a lot of other people's asses, and quite honestly, I'm not getting that in return, and so fuck them. I mean, literally, I can't. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Fuck them, though. Like I can't. I can't make people love me. You know what? I'm fucking tired of that, because I'm already trying to like work so hard on loving me, myself. So I don't got time for that. But it is painful. It is so fucking painful sometimes just to like deal with people like in their bullshit, or like how far love can go. Like, God is love, the universe is love. Like, love changes so much, open mindedness changes so much, letting go of grudges changes so much, loving people into yourself changes so much. People can argue betrayal, people can argue disloyalty or being crossed or this or that, and by all means protect your heart, but still offer love and kindness and beauty and acceptance. And honest to God, a lot of the people that I'm talking or thinking about in my head, like going through all these people and thinking ego, pride, statistic, that's me. If we just practice a little more self-love, we'd be able to give a lot of other self-love to people, and we'd all be coexisting with a nice little glue and coexist in the world together. It's really not that difficult, but people make it that difficult. So, but I'm really struggling with that topic. It's just not the topic for tonight. Um, I don't know. This the quote from Cinderella, hashtag forever Cinderella, is have courage and be kind. That is what I've been telling myself lately for almost anything. I've had to do some really rough shit lately. I've had to, for real, put some big girl panties on and deal some things. That's a whole nother topic. I don't even know if I'm going to talk about it online. But I mean, I've had to do some grown shit these last couple days, couple weeks, and I was terrified. And I asked God for prayer. I've talked to my sponsor and I've written about it. And over, thank you again, Walt Disney. I have said, have courage and be kind. So even dealing with a psychopath, psychological and verbal fucking abuser around me all the time, I've still managed to have courage and be kind. Because that, along with forgiveness that I'm fucking cursed with, goes a really long way. So anyway, let's see. I thought that the just for today for the first was a really cool topic, and the just for day, just in general, is just for today. I am grateful for my assets and I accept my liabilities through willingness and through humility. I'm free to progress in my recovery and achieve freedom from guilt, which I think hit fucking home perfectly for how I'm feeling and what I've described today already in this vlog. Like, I have my assets, I have my liabilities, I have acceptance, I have to be willing to accept them. I mean, rewind that wheel real quick. I have to be willing to accept it in the first place, and I have to acknowledge it, and then I have to let it go, which then talks about the freedom of guilt that it's talking about. So I thought that was really cool. Like, I'm human, you know what I mean? Like, practicing humility is great because I'm here and you're here. You're not better than me. I don't give a fuck what kind of life you've walked. I really don't. We are here together. And so by practicing humility and understanding that I have assets and liabilities and so do you, and like loves the movement, and I'm not trying to sound like some fucking hippie chick, like there's our answer. I'm given freedom from guilt, 100%. So that's where I'm at, and that's what's going on in my life, and that's what I'm trying hard for. I'm trying to change my tribe, and I'm loving myself first. I'm putting myself first. I don't give a fuck how that looks like right now. I just know that every day I strive for it, every day I pray for it, and I will fucking get it. I'm already getting it, and I'm getting back on my square. Something trying to knock me the fuck down because I had a whole fucking other abusive relationship that one day I'll get into a conversation about as well. But for now, this is just what I have. I wanted to talk about just for today. Um, I'm really scared to announce my YouTube channel on my Facebook. I feel like I'm really not into the social media world. That's why I like YouTube, because any random person can find this. And if you like to watch it, cool. If you don't, whatever. But like if I put it on Facebook, like that's subjecting a lot of vulnerability that I'm not really sure if I'm ready for. But at the same token, I don't know. I don't really know what I want to do yet with all of this, but I'm on Instagram giving like small short videos because it only goes for like a minute. And then I basically am vlogging here on YouTube whenever I choose. And most other times I'm either working or finding time to write on my step or go to meetings. And quite honestly, I'm exhausted as fuck. Like for real, I have worked like 13 days in a row now. For real. And tomorrow I have off, and Thursday I have off, but I have so many appointments in between those 2 days, these next 48 hours. It's unreal. Like, I don't even have 2 days off. I have my other job, and then I have my side job, and like, these are my only 2 days to get appointments in, and then other appointments beyond that, and I'm like already tired. And I haven't even went to sleep yet to be tired or have to do any of these things. So I pray that sooner than later I am blessed with a true actual day off where I can just do nothing but just be right here and love who I am. Which, anyways, yeah. So I wanted to leave everybody with one really awesome suggestion, and that is if you have go on YouTube and type in the Kingdom Choir, I believe is what they're called. They sang Stand By Me at the royal wedding. And I happened to come across the video here on YouTube where they were talking about it also on CBS, like overnight news. And so I decided to YouTube them myself. And if music moves your soul like it does my soul, and I mean, I don't care what type of music it is, if it hits me here, I'm pretty like fucking into it. So anyways, the choir is called the Kingdom Choir, and they're from the United Kingdom. They sang at the royal wedding with Meghan and I think Harry. I'm not really sure. I didn't follow too much of that stuff. I know a lot of people did. No offense, but it wasn't me. So, with that being said, they're called the Kingdom Choir, and they sang "Stand by Me," and they did a phenomenal job. And I mean, I just really loved how they sang that song. So you can find it on YouTube, and I highly suggest you do because it's just a really beautiful, empowering song, and it talks about connection. Like you can feel the connection in that song. Connection is so important. You know what I mean? Like, people want to talk about how they don't need people. Bitch, sit down. Everybody needs relationships in life. Like, yeah, I'm a really independent person, and I've spent a lot of my time in life thinking, like, I don't need anybody. Well, like, I'm vulnerable, and I struggle, and I fucking need people sometimes, and it's quite alright to be that way. So I'm gonna need some people to stand by me. Putting in order to get through some life things. But anytime I've needed that, God has sent me people, and I can't wait who's coming for who's coming. So yeah, go check them out. Kingdom Choir, they sing "Stand by Me" at the royal wedding, and they also have some really other amazing songs. And I hope that with this video, it's really been a long video. Probably if I hadn't started talking about grandpa for like ever, I'd probably be less, but I don't really care. It is what it is. So thanks for, hanging out with me and listening. Um, Again, I'll be tackling other topics all the time. It's just a matter of when. I'm exhausted right now, so I really am gonna go and shut the fuck up soon. But yeah, so if there's anybody out there that's actually listened this long, um, cool. Let's get connected. If you want to say hi, drop a note or hit me up on Instagram at suchasag. That's SUCHASAG. And oh, I have fewer in the St. Louis area. I do psychic medium work, and you can book appointments with 2 weeks notice. And that email address that you can schedule an appointment at with is called bewokebooking@gmail.com. So it's BEWOKEBOOKING @gmail.com. At gmail, excuse me.com. So with that, stand by me in my process here and drop a line if you can relate, or if you've made it this far, or if you thought, I don't really care. Just it's really been a pleasurable experience. Tonight's topic of conversation, and I can't wait until we can talk a little more, but for now, this is it. And yeah, oh, I'm under 30 days into my year clean. So I'm going into my 12th month. So August, 25 days. In exactly 25 days I'll have a year clean. And when I had almost 8, I feel like that's going to take an eternity to get back to, but that's another topic. I'm just really grateful because there was a time not too long ago that I couldn't fucking put a couple hours together. So I have a whole year in 25 days, God willing. And I have to say out loud too that I thought about smoking weed and drinking. It sounded like a really fucking good idea, but then I stopped myself. That's natural when you're an addict in recovery, so just voicing that out as well. But I know ultimately that's not what I want, because that's not my end game. My end game is not there. My end game is with recovery and everything else it can come with. So thanks for listening. Thanks for following me. Drop a comment, email me if you need to, whatever the case may be. But thanks for your time. And if I'm only one talking to myself, then I'm okay with that too. I love all of you, and so does the universe, and so does God. And no matter what, please don't give up. If not for me, for everybody else in your life that you don't understand right now that loves you. People are needed. And if you need to be reminded of that, I will definitely try to be that person. Have a good one.